What happens when a woman dares to rebuild banking from scratch? Anne asked herself this very question, and then she set out to answer it. A seasoned banker with decades of experience in some of the UK's biggest financial institutions, Anne had seen firsthand how traditional banks were failing their customers. The systems were outdated, innovation moved at a glacial pace, and the human element, the needs, trust, and expectations of customers, was often ignored. For Anne, it wasn't just frustrating, it was unacceptable. She envisioned something radically different, a digital bank designed from the ground up, one that put people first, used technology to simplify lives, and did away with the legacy systems and stale thinking of the past. But there was no blueprint for what she wanted to build. She had no investors, no co-founder, and no tech background, just a bold idea and an unshakable belief that banking could be better. So, in her 50s, when most would shy away from risk, Anne took the biggest leap of her life. That leap became Starling Bank, one of the UK's most successful digital-only banks, a Fintech trailblazer, and a powerful example of what's possible when courage meets vision. This is the story of how one woman challenged a centuries-old industry, built a banking revolution from scratch, and became an inspiration for anyone who's ever been told it's too late, too hard, or too risky to start over. Anne's journey began far from the boardrooms of London's financial giants. Raised in Swansea, Wales, she grew up with modest means and big dreams. A love for numbers led her into finance, and over decades she climbed the ranks in some of the UK and Europe's most respected banks, Lloyds, RBS, ABN AMRO. She became a seasoned banking insider, known for her sharp intellect, leadership, and strategic thinking. But the deeper Anne got into the banking world, the more disillusioned she became. While the world around her evolved, smartphones, digital services, user-centered design, the banks remained stuck in the past. Legacy systems, outdated processes, and an entrenched resistance to innovation left customers frustrated and underserved. Even as a high-level executive, Anne found herself blocked when she tried to push for meaningful change. In 2013, she reached a breaking point. Anne left her job with no safety net, no co-founders, no product, no venture capital backing. At age 53, in an industry known for risk aversion and male dominance, she stepped into the unknown to build something radically different, a digital-only bank that worked for real people, and the world told her no. Investors didn't see the value in a mobile-first bank run by a woman without a tech background. Industry veterans dismissed her. Some colleagues even laughed at the idea, but Anne didn't waver. She wasn't motivated by disruption for its own sake. She was driven by a conviction that banking could be transparent, fair, and built around the customer, not just the bottom line. She poured her life savings into her vision. She started learning about tech. She surrounded herself with people who believed in the mission, even if the road ahead was uncertain. Her leap from the safe world of corporate finance into the uncharted territory of fintech wasn't easy, but it was necessary. True innovation is rarely comfortable. It often begins with someone brave enough to say, "There must be a better way." Anne's decision to walk away from everything familiar was not a rejection of her past. It was a bold act of leadership and the first step toward transforming an entire industry. In 2014, Anne set out to build a bank from scratch, one that would put customers first, embrace technology, and operate entirely in the digital world. She wasn't just imagining a mobile app for managing finances. She envisioned an entirely new kind of bank, one that would disrupt the traditional banking model by being fully transparent, agile, and customer-centric. With a vision in mind, Anne began assembling a team, writing a business plan, and learning everything she could about tech. Despite lacking a tech background, she immersed herself in the language of software, databases, and cloud infrastructure. The startup ecosystem in the UK was buzzing with excitement about fintech, but few could have predicted just how ambitious Anne's dream was. She knew the challenges ahead would be monumental, but she was determined. The first major hurdle was obtaining a banking license. For any traditional bank, this would be a standard process, but for a tech-driven startup, without the legacy of brick-and-mortar branches or decades of financial history, it was nearly impossible. The regulators were skeptical. How could a digital-only bank be trusted to protect customers' money and ensure their safety in a highly regulated industry? It took Anne almost 2 years to convince the UK's Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, that Starling was a legitimate, safe and scalable bank. In 2016, Starling became one of the first challenger banks in the UK to gain a full banking licence, a huge victory that validated Anne's belief in a different kind of banking. Anne wasn't content with just being another fintech player. She wanted to build the core systems herself. While other startups outsourced key aspects of their technology to third parties, Anne took the bold decision to build Starling's tech stack in-house. This approach allowed the team to control every element of the customer experience, move faster and innovate more freely. They didn't just want to create an app, they wanted to build an entire ecosystem that could respond to customers' needs in real time. Starling Bank had a different philosophy than most competitors. While other challenger banks focused heavily on branding and flashy features, Anne doubled down on stability, regulation, and reliability. Starling wasn't just another cool app, it was a fully regulated bank that could be trusted with people's money. This unwavering commitment to professionalism and trustworthiness set Starling apart from other fintech startups that often struggled to balance innovation with security. However, the path was far from smooth. In 2015, one of Anne's co-founders unexpectedly left the project, taking much of the initial investor interest with him. Anne was forced to rebuild the team and start the fundraising process from scratch. It was a crushing setback, but she didn't give up. She adapted, built new partnerships, and pitched relentlessly until Starling was able to secure the funding it needed to move forward. Finally, in 2017, Starling launched to the public. The road to get there had been long and fraught with challenges, but Anne's resilience and unwavering belief in her vision had paid off. Today, Starling Bank is one of the most successful digital banks in the UK, with millions of customers and a reputation for providing innovative, user-friendly banking services. Anne's journey proves that vision alone isn't enough. Building something groundbreaking requires perseverance, courage, and the resilience to push forward, even when everything falls apart. It's not just about having an idea, it's about having the strength to bring it to life, no matter the odds. By 2020, Starling Bank had become one of the most respected digital banks in Europe. What set Starling apart from many startups was its ability to turn profitable, scale responsibly, and consistently win awards for customer satisfaction and innovation. Under Anne's leadership, the company had become a beacon of how a tech-driven financial institution could thrive by prioritizing customer experience over gimmicks. Anne's leadership style was built on a foundation of agility, inclusivity, and a deep sense of mission. She championed diversity in leadership, ensuring that her team was reflective of the values she stood for: transparency, integrity, and putting people first. This was more than a corporate strategy. It was a manifestation of her personal commitment to reshaping the banking landscape. Throughout this journey, Anne faced challenges, particularly ageism and sexism in an industry dominated by younger, often male founders. Time and time again, she was underestimated, but she turned every doubt into fuel for her fire. proving that age and gender were no barriers to becoming a trailblazer. She became an icon for late-stage entrepreneurship and a champion for female leadership in tech and finance. Her success was not just about creating a bank, it was about creating trust in an industry that was too often disconnected from its customers. Anne didn't just reinvent banking, she showed that purpose-driven innovation could last beyond fleeting trends. Purpose-driven innovation can outlast trends. Anne proved that with integrity and long-term thinking, it's possible to transform an industry from the ground up. Anne's story isn't just about fintech, it's about belief. Belief in an idea when no one else does. Belief in yourself when others doubt you. It's never too late to follow your vision. It's never too late to start again. What legacy will you build? What bold vision are you sitting on right now that could change the world? Anne turned a simple idea into a digital bank that reshaped the future. Not with noise, but with clarity, courage, and purpose.